for a very good reason. Let's go to the VIP line. We always like talking with Michael Fields of Colorado Rising Action about everything that's hot. And obviously they're working very hard, part of the leadership to defeat Prop CC. So we'll check in on that and anything else important. Michael, welcome back to the Dan Caplis Show.
Hey, Dan, it's good to be on with you.
Thank you, my friend. Didn't I just see, I've been in a trial fog. You know how that goes. You could get maybe 2-3 hours of sleep a night, but the adrenaline's high and all that. But I thought, no offense, I was in the bathroom at the time, which is the only time I see internet during trial. But I was in the bathroom at the time, and didn't I see a picture of you and George Brockler show up on Twitter somewhere? Did George just turn 50?
He did just turn 50.
Holy cow. I would have pegged him for 49 and a half. No. What's that?
I thought he was 60 or 70, but he just turned 50, yeah.
Wow. Well, it looked like you guys were having a good time. I hope it was all legal. I'm sure it was. Or they're...
With the DA, it always is.
Oh, it has to be. Or at least you have to say it is. No, with George it is. He's just one of those guys. But anyway, so, hey, bring me up to speed because I am probably a great audience for you today because I've been in trial and then I had a trial right before that. I'm like somebody who just, fell out of a turnip truck and just drops into the middle of society, totally unaware of anything that's happened for pretty much the last month. So where do things stand on CC?
So there's been a lot of money in the last few weeks that have come in on the pro side. They're up to about $4 million.
Wow.
Kind of the usual suspects, Dan Ritchie, Pat Stryker, a lot of union money coming in.
Okay.
And this is obviously, they want to go after full repeal and, to increase taxes down the road, and they have to win this one in order to do it. And so you see some kind of late momentum on their side, money-wise. But there's also a story a couple weeks ago that came out that the legislature overspent next year's budget by $100 million already.
That's awkward.
So all these promises and bills that they passed last year, and now they need to go find $100 million. And so they're making promises on where this Prop CC money will go, but 40% of it's already spent.
Wow.
And so and another thing though with CC is the Denver Post came out against it and said that it's fatally flawed, which I think was some momentum for our side. And so it's hard to know. Ballots are out now. The ballot language is not good for us.
In what way?
The arguments are. It says without raising taxes to better fund schools and roads and bridges within a balanced budget with an independent audit. When it starts without raising taxes, when it's clearly a tax increase, that's a hard start. But the legislature,
how did they get that language? How did they get that language?
They do it themselves. They approve the ballot language, and there's no title board that you have to go to for them. We do.
Wow.
If we do something on the ballot, we have to go through a process. They don't. And so they can put basically whatever they want on the ballot.
Talk about rigged. Is there a way to challenge it? I know that, horse out of the barn now, but is there a way to challenge that judicially? Probably not.
Only you'd have to go to the Supreme Court to do it. And this has been something that they've used without raising taxes since Ref C happened. So It's been happening for years. But it doesn't say refunds in it. It doesn't say Tabor. It doesn't say permanent. None of those things are in it. And so, our big job is to get out and tell people what this really means, that it's taking your Tabor tax refunds forever.
Wow. Michael Fields, our guest, Colorado Rising Action. I get the sense that you guys are doing a good job of that because it seems to me it's out there on the radar. People are getting the message. But explain this to me, my friend. How did you get the Post to oppose this thing?
It's difficult to do, but I think we just sat down and had an argument that, look, there's no crisis with the budget right now. This is permanent. It's not specific. And the Post said, go back and try again. They're not fans of Tabor.
Right.
They just thought this plan was a bad plan.
Wow.
Where, the Gazette comes out and is like, don't give, these politicians a blank check. They're a lot more conservative on it. But I think, looking at it and saying our budget's $32.5 billion, it's going up $1 billion more plus every year. That there isn't this crisis, and we really want that money to go, money to go to roads, and we want it to go to teacher pay, but this doesn't do it. And so that's kind of where the Post came down.
Now, this revenue shortfall for next year, I assume they're going to make it up by getting more kids to smoke pot. What's the plan?
I don't know. I think the plan is to take this refund money, but kindergarten, they said it was going to cost one thing. Then they had to jam it in the budget. So they lowered projections. Then the projections came in higher. And they are, $60 million behind on kindergarten. I think they're scrambling around trying to find ways to keep their spending free up. But since the recession happened 10 years ago, we're the number 2 general fund growth in the whole country.
Really?
North Dakota's number 1. Yeah, our general
Why
fund
is
has
that?
grown second. And it's basically because we've been able to. I mean, we've had economic success here, and Tabor only prohibits part of the budget from growing, not
Right.
all of it at all.
Right.
And so we've been maxing it out where other states have been trying to bounce back in the recession. But the two things they're going after, oil and gas and Tabor, are what helped us rebound from the recession so well. So, this is a long-term plan for them, but it's going to end up, hurting us economically here in Colorado.
Yeah, and I have to guess that's part of how you succeeded with the Post, right? Because, and I like a lot of people at the Post, but I think they're pretty far left at this point. But they've got to see how important Tabor is to the economic stability of the state. I mean, you can get sugar highs without Tabor, but long term without Tabor, where do you think we are? And Tabor was what, 94, right in there, wasn't
92.
it? 92. Because I remember I was getting married at the time or something like that. I was getting married about then, and I thought Tabor came in about then. So where do you honestly, Michael, where do you think we would be at right now in Colorado if Tabor had never been born? If Amy and I had never married?
Well, we're number one economy in the country. I think we would be middle of the pack at best. I grew up in Illinois, and they raise taxes whenever they want. 100,000 net people are leaving the state every year. Yeah. I don't know if we'd be quite that bad. But, you look at these 6 statewide tax increases that we shot down. Where would we be if we had those? The ones Hickenlooper was pushing, and now wants to claim that the economic success is because of him. I think we would be in a lot worse shape, and we'll see. I mean, I think they're going around Tabor right now with fees anyway, and we're going to have to stop that because voters and politicians are not on the same page on how big they want government to be. And so I'm glad we have Tabor stopping a lot of these bad ideas.
Yeah. What about my second question? If Amy and I had never married in 1994, where would we be right now?
You'd be in bad shape.
I would be. She'd probably be the happiest woman in the world. I'd be in horrible shape. But, all right, Michael, what can people do to help?
Well, I think, getting the word out, vote now, and then spend the rest of these weeks trying to get people to turn out. Americans for Prosperity is going door to door. Your state party, your local county is going out trying to get voters to vote the right way on this. And so I think getting plugged in. We also have a website, votenoonCC.com, and you can get plugged in with what we're doing. But it's spreading the word. It's getting turnout at this point.
All right. Now, tell me what else is going on. I see this morning when I'm sitting in court, I see this story pop up about some Democrat poll that shows Hickenlooper beating Corey by whatever, 10 or 13 points or something like that. Do you buy that? Do you think that's accurate right now?
No, I think it's closer than that. But, I think Hickenlooper hasn't started taking the hits that he's going to take yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there, and the left isn't that excited with him. You have a long primary. Romanoff's going to beat him up. You have a very far left Democrat Party right now, and Hickenlooper is left on a lot of issues, but there, a couple of them he's not far enough to them. So we're so early in the process. I mean, Corey's a really good candidate. He's going to raise a lot of money. I just, there's no way it's going to be a double digit lead right now for Hickenlooper. I would say, it's within the margin one way or the other, but, I think it's also, you have to look at the different polls. This is a Democratic firm that put this out. But Hickenlooper has a long road for somebody who doesn't want to be a senator and has said that. I think Corey definitely wants to go back, and so it's going to be a dogfight for out. But I don't believe that poll at all.
And even worse than that, I mean, and that Corey, because of the good work he did with the senatorial committee, and he's been a good senator otherwise, real good. That there's going to be a lot of money behind him, and they have so much to work with. How many times do you think we're going to see on air, and too many is not enough, of Hickenlooper saying, "I just wouldn't be a good senator"? That spot writes itself.
It's going to be easy. Yeah, it's right there saying, I don't want to do this. And Corey's somebody who, as you go and see him, as you hear him talk, people like him more and more.
Yeah.
And so as he gets around the state, and he's been doing it, but he's going to do it even more. He's one of those candidates we want out there. We want talking because he's really good at being a senator, and he's good at explaining it. And so Hickenlooper is running not a good campaign already. I mean, he's so far ahead that, he pulls it out. But Romanoff, if you see that today, he came out talking about Schumer, stacked to the deck, and this is going to be a tough primary. He's not going to have as much money, but I think he'll have grassroots support. And so this isn't, Hickenlooper has to worry about the primary first anyway.
Yeah, and in the end, passion means so much more than money. As you said a few minutes ago, it's all about turnout on Election Day. And I can easily see a scenario where at the end of the day, Hickenlooper is trailing whoever the Democrat presidential nominee is on Election Day, trailing by 5 points. I could easily see that scenario, but...
Well, and think about who's at the top of their ticket. You know, if it's Elizabeth Warren or Bernie or something, I mean, that's going to be trouble for them. In a lot.
Don't we all know who it's going to be, Michael? Does nobody listen to this show? I've been saying this for months. People have mocked me, derided me, slashed my tires. Then I go off to try a case, and I'm proven right. Their nominee is going to be Hillary Clinton, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think Warren's looking like she's more likely, but I think she's about as likable as Hillary. So,
well, they'll find her in a trunk somewhere if she's in Hillary's way. Yeah, I mean, look what she. Yeah. No, we'll find out. But hey, Michael, keep up the great work, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. That's Michael Fields, Colorado Rising Action. You